I knew you'd be back. Good. You made it back.
I'm glad those sparrowhawks are gone, but I'm not sure these Adiran guards that showed up are any better.
Trading one set of police for another.
What'll it be today, Envoy?
If you'd like to be useful, I could use another drink. I'm busy. I'm sure we have nothing to say.
I'm thinking more about that sparrowhawk graffiti. Maybe we could
If the militia had any formal instruction, they'd get it here.
You're a damn good shot, you know that?
Oh, I'm well aware. But thank you. It's very sweet.
No. Where'd you learn to shoot? Kind of nice when the city was
You
still
really
on.
want to know the answer to that question?
Excuse me?
You know what?
What in God's
Maybe
name are
it's
you
better
talking
that I
about?
don't. Think about it. You'll become- Home, sweet, shameful home.
She asked about you again, Alden. She wants to know when you re-enlist.
I'm not going back. That's the end of it.
You know you refuse to wait.
Listen, I wanted to talk to you about Juliana. I know you're not asking my opinion, but for what it's worth, I appreciate you understanding her situation. I couldn't agree with you more. Out here, you've got to live and let live. Principles are one thing, but you can't let them get in the way of basic decency. I wish more of your countrymen took that view. And I've got answers. Some of them may even be true. You're asking me? I'm not much of a gossip. Okay, who do you want to know about? Long enough that he's got a good roster of stories about my blunders in the wilds, which he'll remind us of constantly. He's got a soft heart under that gruff exterior. He feels things more deeply than he lets on. So, if he burns the stew one evening, maybe don't mention it. Yeah, given everything that comes with being an envoy, I bet that's especially refreshing for you. And don't worry if he starts badgering you. It's his way of showing he cares. Okay, but only if you let me turn that question around once I've answered you. I think you've been trusted with a nearly impossible task. When we first met, I thought that was because you made some powerful enemies back home. But as I've gotten to know you, I think that if anyone can stop the Dream Scourge, it's you. What's more, you've got your head and your heart in the right place. You haven't let your duties or loyalties get in the way of being decent and reasonable. At the end of the day, I'm proud to fight alongside you. And there you have it. Your turn now. I've been accused of only letting my stomach drive me, but thanks. That one means a lot. Sure. I'll tell you what I can. We should be safe enough, but I'll take watch, just in case.
It's not every day you get to deal with the person who killed you. And since you set them free, you get to deal with them again sometime in the future. Putting trust in the gods is like wearing a blindfold in a dark room. You can't see, but there wasn't any light anyway. Anyway, it doesn't matter what I think. You found the assassin, and you're still alive, which means well done, Marius. Now you're looking towards Emerald Stair. Whole other kind of deadly out there. Considered it, sure. It wouldn't be much of a guide if I dropped you off at the edge of Dawnshore and said, good luck. Good to be here. We've got a bit of a walk ahead of us. You might want to get some rest. Anyway. Ask away. Yes, I did. The less we talk about that, the better. Thank you. Not everyone accepts that some things are best left in the past. Well, I'm one of the very few people who spends most of their time out in the wilds and haven't gotten themselves killed yet. I know the difference between hay bleed toxin and high tox bloom, which is something you should be really thankful for. And you know the Ballarok and the Grinning Ballarok? Probably the meanest living thing out in the wilds. Just as soon tear you apart as look at you. I am one of the few who have seen a Ballarok and lived. Mostly because I had the brains to run the Dragu out of there. We're gonna get you where you're going, Envoy. Alive and with as few blithe tail bites as possible. That, more or less, is all you need to know about me. Same one you are. What kind of blessed question is that? Oh, I see. I sometimes use Lember without really thinking about it. That's what you mean, right? I barely realize I'm doing it anymore. If you want to learn Lember, you'll have to spend time in Solace. And that's not going to happen anytime blessed soon. Ah, right. Something like that. I'm sure you'll pick it up as we travel. It's not that blessed difficult. Oh, do tell. We've already talked about this. I hope this isn't going to be a problem. Good. More often than you think. Someone's always trying to get a reputation by going after people who have one. Turns out those of us who have a reputation sometimes came by it honestly. No, I didn't poison that drink. Even the rankest Nimdude walking doesn't deserve that kind of death. They clearly heard about my reputation and thought I'd do something like that. Question is, why would he drink from that cup? Yes, wanted to be the big man. Pride is one of the best ways to deliver poison. If he was a real hunter, he'd have studied his target and known what I was capable of. Lucky for me, he was just a tourist in need of a good reminder. What do you need? Right, changing the subject. Companions? It's just Kai, isn't it? As you know, Kai and I have worked together in the past. It's a blessed miracle he never got me killed. Honestly, he's a good guy. A bit too quick to ask questions for my taste, but Kai's good enough. Tell him I said that I'll cut a hole in your water skins. Right. What do you want to know? Lovely place, as the Living Lands goes. I advise most people to stay around here if they're looking to settle. Paradise isn't the safest place in the world, but it is the safest place in the lands. Walls and guards go a long way out here. Other than that, you've got bits of forest, grasslands, some caves, cliffs, and all sorts of things to get you into trouble. This is the easiest place to survive in the Living Lands. Enjoy it while it lasts. Heard an envoy from Adir showed up and got himself killed. Other than that, nothing. Honestly, I don't listen out for gossip much. I don't know what to tell you. You probably know most of this, but here goes. Normally you look for some shelter first. Cut down a few small trees, gather moss to keep the wind out. Nothing too elaborate. With so little tree cover, you want to keep moving. The reeds near the coast make great fibers for rope, so you can lash branches together and make a decent roof. Of course, we're always moving, so we just make a quick camp and carry on. So you don't have to worry about all that. Right. Good talk. What are you grinning about?
Huh? I wasn't grinning.
Right. Well, stop it.
That's just how my face looks, Marius. Hey, not everyone warrants an assassination attempt, you know. You should be flattered. I'd say he can learn a thing or two from you. But I think you had him at a loss when you let him go. Me too, for that matter. Don't get me wrong, I'm impressed. Not many in your position would have let him walk away. Things aren't always that clear, especially when you're staring down a man who tried to send you back to the wheel. But I like your certainty. Why'd you do it? Clever. Though I'm afraid he'll scurry off before you can learn much. I'm afraid we haven't seen the last of this conflict, though. Eagwolf isn't the only hothead in the living lands, and he's certainly not the only one with his hackles up about all you Adira newcomers. And Ludwig and the Steel Garrote are only making matters worse. You're far from the only one to say so. Your ambassador and the rest of the Adiran forces have been dragging the frontier, kicking and screaming towards order and civilization. All the things that half of us moved here to escape. Then, one day, Ludwig and the Steel Garrote show up to reinforce the Adiran presence, and they're as harsh as Woedica herself. Could be both. Judging from that meeting, Ambassador Hilgard and Ludwig don't see eye to eye. I'm afraid that means trouble on the horizon, especially if Ludwig starts operating around him. Nice to know I'm in good company. Just thinking about Claviger Amon. I let him down. I've let a few people down over the years, but I did promise someone once that I'd do my part to look after all of us riffraff who've made a home here. My best chance of doing that is helping you investigate this plague and keep a lid on tensions. And, hopefully, fend off any future assassination attempts. The feeling's mutual. It's nice to share a campfire again. I think that's enough doom and gloom for one night, don't you? Sleep easy, Envoy. As best you can. I'll be here if you need me.
You might want to... Fior Messi Verno, huh? Guess if you're looking for an animancer, that's the place to go. A job is a job, Envoy. But not all places are created equal. I've led a few people there from Paradise or Thirdborn, and I've almost lost someone on every trip.
Someone's slipping.
I said almost. Just glad I can help. Right, changing the subject. Pleasant dreams. No offense, but you leave a pretty wide trail, Envoy. We can ask him when he inevitably tracks you down again. An Adiran official who's new in town turns a lot of heads, especially when they're traveling with a Nim dude like Kai. Stick with Kai. You'll find out. Well, we've worked together in the past. It was mostly him crashing blindly through the weeds after I advised him not to. We found your assassin. Maybe I can help you avoid being killed again in the future. My guess is you'll need a guide once you leave Paradise, too. They say I'm the best there is. Right. This ought to be interesting. Anyway, enough chat. I'm sure you have things to do. You should keep an eye on that scrape on your arm. You don't want it to get infected.
It barely even counts as a scrape.
That's the worst kind of flesh wounds. Lots of open skin contact. Contact. Snap flies like the peeled skin. Fog mites love the blood.
I'm sure it's nothing to worry about.
I have some tanglewood in my pack. That should clear it right up.
Okay. If you insist.
You can thank me later. That's what I'm here for. By the way, I never met that Orland girl before in my life.
What Orland girl?
You remember. The one in the camp in Shadow Peaks with the thing on her head?
Oh, yeah. Nice eyes, chipped tooth. Thinking about her again, huh?
You thought we had a past or something. But I'd never seen her before in my life.
We could see her again if you want. She liked you.
Well, anyway, just wanted to clear that up. Yeah, good talk.
Some women like the brooding, mysterious types. Just gotta work.
Haze, mirrors, we have touched something like your dreams before. Our roots entwine, but we cannot linger here long. We must know. A killer freed, a predator returned to the woods. You bled and forgave. Why? Should he not suffer for your pain? Compassion for the snake. He killed our beloved. Our weeds tangled. This is not our way. A dam broke. We wept in the dark when your soul slipped away. We feared for you, felt your agony. We could not forgive. We bide our time. We wait. Wake now. We have tending to do.
Can't believe we're stationed here, so far from the city. Piss off the capital or something.
Oh, we're acting like we got sent to Shatterstar with Halloween's tusks.
Hail, friend. Always nice to see a fellow traveler out here. Where are you headed? Ah, a fellow wanderer then. This is certainly a beautiful place to explore. Dangerous, true, but beautiful nonetheless. One of my ancestors apparently grew up in Solace Keep, deep in the living lands. I hope to find this place. It's my ancestral home. Sure, I may have grown up in Stalwart, but I'm Pagroon through and through, just like the dwarves here in the living lands.
If your ancestors left Solace, it isn't your ancestral home anymore.
Some things never change. Whether I'm here or back in Stalwart, it's always the Pagroonen that make me question this journey. Fair question. Not something you'd expect someone all the way in the White March to hear about, hmm? After my grandmother was taken by the usher, I found her mother's writings, centuries old. They talked about a home her family left when she was just a child, and from that moment, I knew I had to return.
Would it kill the claviger to send us some better food?
You really couldn't worry about any worse.
Envoy. I speak for Paradise. That is all you need to know.
You got lucky with the last one you set free, Envoy. Not sure I'd risk it again.
You spared us. That does not mean that we have lost interest in you. Your mercy for our compatriots has not gone unnoticed. Take this. We deem you worthy. This time, we trust you will remember our gratitude.
Hold a moment. They tell me you're going to Emerald Stair. Business or pleasure? Of course. Don't let me keep you. Fair warning, Envoy. Before you showed up, Inquisitor Ludwine barged past me. She was looking none too pleased. I didn't ask. The less I know, the better. Anyway, I thought you should know Ludwine's on the prowl. Tread lightly.
So Ludwine's somewhere out there doing who knows what. Wonderful.
Given how angry she was about Wolf, probably best we give her a wide berth.
You're cleared to pass, Envoy.
And Sam's sad to be leaving Paradise. I had no idea how tense things were with the Adirans moving in. And now we have to worry about whether the man who killed you is going to try again.
Believe me, that's a relief. Besides, the Steel Garrote's all too eager to take up that mantle.
Steel Garrote? I figured they're just more intense Adiran soldiers.
Oh, I hear you. Unfortunately, if you're marching shoulder to shoulder, some of their stink is bound to rub off on you.
I don't like that Ludwig woman. She gives me the vrikas.
Yeah, I've seen floggings gentler than the scolding she gave Hilgard. One's tacking and the other's jibing, if you catch my drift. Sorry, old sailor slang. They're working at cross purposes. And that's going to mean trouble for everyone around them before long.
And it's a good thing we're getting out of the city.
Yeah. Much as Liviana misses our company, I wouldn't count on your mysterious friend reviving you a second time.
Are you listening to that friend when you go all blank-eyed from time to time? Does your special friend talk to you? I mean, I had an imaginary friend when I was little, but they never brought me back from the dead.
He means that with all due professional respect, of course.
How do you know this friend doesn't mean us any harm? Well, maybe figure it out. We can't prepare for what we don't know is coming.
We're headed to Fior Messi Verno to see if the Animancers know anything about the Dream Scourge, right? Maybe we'll learn something about your condition in the process.
Right. When it comes time to deal with Animancers, you two are on your own.
The Living Lands is an odd place, period.
But so are the Animancers.
I haven't been back in a while, but Fior is an interesting place. It was founded about 50 years ago by a disgraced Valian duke and a handful of Animancers who'd soured on politics in the republics.
Town full of nobles, scholars, and leeches, all surviving off the work of the farmers who grow food for the whole island.
They're an eccentric bunch. You'll see. It turns out that academics are as ungovernable as the rest of us rabble.
They don't understand what they're messing with. They can't tame the wilds with machinery.
They've held it at bay until recently. Their ingenuity, or madness, or heresy, take your pick, has fed a lot of people in the Living Lands. But, rumor has it, some unnatural blight is destroying their crops. Hopefully there's nothing to that. But if there is, we'll find out soon enough. And while we're in Emerald Stair, there's something I've been putting off. An old friend from my time in Thirdborn had a cabin out in the woods. Tama. He passed a while ago, but he left something for me that I never got around to picking up. But since we'll be in Emerald Stair anyway, you won't regret it. Emerald Stair's lovely this time of year. Even the Delimgon bloom.
No matter what I tell you, you keep picking flowers from things that want to kill you.
Hey, they love me. You just gotta ask nicely. Compliment their foliage.
Right. Maybe buy them a drink before they choke you to death with vines. I'd hope so. I think that goes without saying.
You and I have quite the adventure ahead of us, Envoy.
Now that you mention it, you're gonna need my help if you're traveling through the lands with this Nimdut. I have 2 rules. No campfire songs and no hugs. That last one's non-negotiable.
I hear wiggle room on the singing.
If we're done being ridiculous, we should get some rest. We'll be in Emerald Stair tomorrow.
Good to have you with us, Marius.
Right. Go to bed before you violate the hugging rule.
Look, Marius, if you ever want to talk about anything, you know I'm here, right?
Right. Appreciate that, but I'm all right.
If you ever change your mind.
Would you be a dear and help with these problems, please?
Looks like she could use our help. Let's get on.
Don't get too comfortable. More on the way.
And raw. And raw.
Oh, fantastic. People. I was about to lose my wits.
A mind's question. The dust of the Akita in her hair. She knocks. We would answer.
You wouldn't happen to have a ladder on hand, would you? To climb, of course.
You're welcome to my shoulders.
There's a godless artifact just out of reach, and I must have it. But perhaps we don't need one. You're tall, striking, and well-toned. Well, I'm not surprised you don't know of the godless. But they were here in the living lands long before we were. Long before anyone else, as far as I can tell. Give or take a few thousand years. They lived on every corner of the lands. You must have passed a few of their ruins on the way here. The big ones, with spires that look more than a little phallic. A lot of their structures were embedded in the ground. They lived in harmony with the land. I mean, as much as you can live in harmony with a land actively trying to kill you. Maybe it was nicer back then. 30 years of research, and as far as I can tell, they just upped and disappeared one day. Fascinating, right? Well, what's important is that the vase is within my grasp, now that I've a tall, dark, and handsome stranger to help.
If you keep encouraging her, she's going to climb you.
Watch out, Envoy. She seems to have a thing for you.
Careful, darling. I already have a lover. A good one. Skilled with his hands. He always carries a ladder. But, sadly, he's busy helping the Animancers in Fjord, and I need this vase now. Oh, absolutely not. Vidaro, the governor, is an uptight postinago. But if you want to know about the governor, fetch me that artifact. The vase sits atop that tower beside us, in the ruins there. Once you've got it, look me up. Yahtzee, wizard extraordinaire, godless expert, and a Balrog in the bedroom.
You do meet the most interesting people.
I can get you 1,000 faces that don't require going into some ancient ruins. No one listens to me.
You take lead.
Here they come back! Not looking so good. Good fight.
You are aware I can see you digging through my things, aren't you? Andra's titties, you found it! I tried using magic to get the face down, but alas. Thankfully, you and your little friends came along and saved the day.
Excuse me. We're all bigger than you are, Nimdude.
I may be small, but my magic is not, I assure you. If you say so, darling. But I'd best pack up. I want to get home. I have a new artifact to study. Thank you for your help, Godlike. Even if you didn't have a ladder.
Well, that's something I hope never happens again.
I've got a few.
Who put the vase up there in the first place? And of course I forgot a ladder. Wonderful.
You're mine now! Well done! Now looking good. Ah! Oh, another down!
I think I sprained my shoulder.
Granted, I don't come here often, but when did it get this bad?
You told
As if
us
people weren't
animals
hungry enough.
save our crops, and now look, spoiled on the back. Zarits won't even touch them.
Animals
is a process.
They toil, and the earth yields in return
Machines everywhere.
the smile of the harvest.
Think of good.
What do you mean that's all you've got? Last week you said that'd be great.
You know what I said. We only have so much to go around.
You showed up at a bad time.
Ah, the Emperor's envoy. Inquisitor Ludwig said you might be heading this way. Captain Alfair of the Steel Garrote. If you're here to speak with Vidaro, I'm afraid you'll find the governor is quite beyond reason. These Valians and their love of animancy. If their experiments are affecting Adirian interests, this is our business. And when the time comes, The Steel Garrote will be ready to ensure the safety of those interests. We all have our part to play, envoy. Until later.
She's as subtle as a broadside.
Does subtle mean something different outside of Solace?
Can I interest you in some glade berries or better spells, perhaps?
Come on. My invention is guaranteed.
What's the meaning of this?
Look at these crops. Look at your city. The Dream Scourge is laying waste to our home. How can you ignore what's right in front of you? The Dream Scourge is here, in the soil, and it's killing us. Oh my goodness. Are you a godlike? Charmed. Forgive me for staring. It's just, we don't see many of your kind anymore.
Maybe you can talk some sense into our governor. Put the fear of the gods in him.
Seems more likely you'll have to punch some sense into him.
Excuse me, but unless you have official business, I'll thank you not to involve yourself in our private discussion.
Did you hear that, Ignacy? You should be taking notes.
Ah, of course. The Adiran envoy. Ambassador Hilgard sent a missive telling me to expect you. How delightful. You speak with a measure of authority, but I caution you to remember who's in charge around here.
Now that's what I call a first impression. As you can see, I was just proving a point to our esteemed governor.
A cart full of spoiled vegetables. You call that a point?
Ha! Emerald Stair used to be a lush garden for miles around, and now I don't even recognize it. First came the invasive species, roots and mycelium growing overnight, as though nature itself had gone mad. The Dream Scourge has twisted our lands, our wildlife, and now our farms. Then there's no time to waste arguing with bureaucrats.
I like her already.
I believe that we can restore the land, bring back its soul and its sanity, cut off the Dream Scourge at the root. Our governor would rather ignore the problem. He doesn't trust animancy as his father did. Before we can deal with the Dream Scourge, we first need to understand it. Unfortunately, new experiments have to go through him.
Must be nice that all the arguing isn't about you, for once.
I'm just trying to stop Chiata from hurting herself. Animancy is dangerous when you're shooting in the dark. I see you're unfamiliar with animancy. You don't appreciate just how dangerous that could be. Are you going to tell him about your family's basement? Or should I?
How dare you use that against me?
I know it was an accident, but look what it cost you. We can't let it happen again.
While we argue among ourselves, the Dream Scourge is tearing the living lands apart. Tearing our people apart.
Really? Unexpected from an Adiran. But how could I refuse an offer like that? Well, Governor, looks like I'm taking some time away from my duties. I'll trouble you no more.
Your request is denied, Chatta.
I wasn't asking.
Your responsibilities are to the settlement. Turning away from them sets a precedent that I cannot allow.
Everything I have proposed has been for Fior, and you still refuse to cooperate. Under the circumstances, I don't have much of a choice.
Then neither do I. Giatta Castel, from this day forth, you are banished from Fior Messiverno.
Whoa, you're banishing her for that?
What?
Ignacy, we can't lose our brightest animancer in the middle of a crisis.
Your pupil has gone too far, Quilici. Take her and leave. You're still a guest in my town, but to us, Giatta is an outcast.
It's a bit too soon to tell.
Governor, this is unacceptable. Your father would have kept this community together at any cost.
Don't bother, old man. He isn't his father. I've done all I can for Fior Messiverno. But you haven't even tried. Now limp back to your giant house like a good dog. We should talk somewhere private. Meet me at my house due west by the workshop.
I'll find us another bed.